Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Long Shot Podcast. Of course, brought to you by 342 Productions. And I'm your host, Duncan, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Davis Reid.
Yeah. Hey, Dunk. What's up? How we doing? Episode 10.
Episode 10, we have made our way into double digits, which it's an exciting milestone. Hopefully just the beginning though, nonetheless, but certainly excited to be here.
Yeah. It's just an honor. I like to thank family, friends, you, of course, for the platform. Long way to go, but double digits is something to celebrate.
Yeah, there's a laundry list of people that we could both thank. But anyways, let's just get down to business here. I am currently in Memphis, Tennessee on the second night of a back-to-back. We landed here at about 2 a.m. last night. Back-to-backs have been a regularity here in the second half of the season. We had another one to start. We played at home to start the second half against the Magic and then went right to Chicago. So definitely been an interesting stretch here. Obviously with the shortened season, we're packing in games.
Yeah, what does that travel schedule look like? It seems like so much to pack in 24, 48 hours. Like you said, last week you guys played in Miami against Orlando, and then the following night you're playing in Chicago. And now we're recording this Wednesday. So last night you guys played in Miami against Cleveland, and now you're playing tonight in Memphis.
Yeah, well, every team has stretches like this. Ours just happens to be right here when we get back from break. In actuality, we only have 36 games in the second half, and there are a handful of teams that have a lot more than that. I think teams that have missed games on the front half now have to make up, so their schedule is even crazier. Right now, it definitely is a stretch where we got games pretty much just stacked up on top of each other. We play every other night with some back-to-backs mixed in there. So, it's a great challenge. Obviously, the depth will certainly be tested, and that particularly, some older guys. We had a couple guys not make the trip for this one, and it's an opportunity for younger guys to step up for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. I have a quick theory I want to run by you. So we're talking about these home and away games. I think you might be part of the Miami Heat team that's dealing with the most or the biggest home court disadvantage in the history of the franchise, which is that players in Miami can't go out.
It's very true.
That has to be a massive disadvantage for you guys. You guys are notoriously a good home court team. Last year, I looked this up. You guys were 29-7 at home last year. One of the best home records in the NBA. This year, it's not as good. I know we've had some COVID protocol, some injury, but I think another factor is that opposing teams aren't able to, hit the town before the game.
I think it's a valid point that you bring to the table. I think that there are other variables at play here as well. I think us not being at full strength for majority of the season would probably be the biggest one, in that a lot of those games that we dropped at home were early on, where we had no fans also. So that's another variable. So I think when you mix all three of those together, because I will say, and I'll be open about this, I think this is pretty much public knowledge, in that when teams come to Miami, particularly pre-COVID, they're gonna at least go out to dinner. What that looks like afterwards, I'm not sure. It's kind of a don't ask, don't tell type of situation. I've never been in that situation because I've only played in Miami. But with that being said, last year I do remember a handful of games. I'm not gonna name any names, call anybody out, but maybe some guys not at full strength after a fun night in the Magic City.
And can you blame them? I mean, imagine it's mid-February, you're in Detroit for most of the year, and then all of a sudden you're in South Beach. What do you're not going to sit in your hotel.
Yeah, and that's not to say that people are just like out partying and doing crazy stuff, but more so, like I said, I think the vast majority of it is that oftentimes when teams come to Miami, they do like a fun team dinner somewhere on the beach, somewhere nice. Like you said, if it's all winter long and you're in, a Northeast or a northern city, it's nice to just be someplace where, you can get a little sun.
And you're just, at this point, you Miami natives, not natives, but you guys that are living in
Locals.
Miami.
I'm a local. I'm a Miami
sure.
local.
You guys are just, it's, you're numb to it all now.
I don't know about numb to it. I never want to get to the point where I take it for granted, because one of my favorite things, and I'm a guy who grew up in the Northeast, and I love the Northeast, very fond of that part of the country. But I will say I severely underestimated how awesome it is to wake up pretty much every day and have it be 75 plus and sunny and see the water. Though what those two things do for your mental cannot be exaggerated. It just can't be talked about enough. Like it's totally been a game changer for sure.
No, I will say, growing up in Kansas City, I am about as far from water as you can get, unless you're talking like a river or a lake. But going out to school in New England, I came across a lot of folk like you who said I could never live anywhere away from an ocean. And then I spent 3.5 years in LA, and I get it now. There's something calming about being by water.
There absolutely is. We can move forward here as much as I'm enjoying this conversation. Let's talk a little March Madness. Obviously, it's basketball's favorite time of the year, particularly college basketball fans. Really, the whole world, more than just college basketball fans, is on the tournament. Everyone's watching the tournament. Of course, you have people, skipping work or what have you. I'm a firm believer that the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament should be a national holiday.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
I think that maybe we should start a grassroots campaign that is born through this episode, maybe.
Amen.
To make these first 2 days a national holiday, just because it's just high quality content that I think everybody can get behind.
Yeah, it's two of the best days in sports. I think Friday, Saturday, right? The first 2 days, the first round of the tournament. Basketball all day. You're inevitably going to have some upsets. It's just, some buzzer beaters. It's just the best. I'm curious, Dunk, do you have some brackets you filled out? Do you have some picks? I assume you're rolling with Michigan, but can we get maybe like a Final Four prediction from you?
Sure. Absolutely. Go blue through and through. The Wolverines are going to handle business. I'm very confident of that. So I got them going all the way. I got to think, this is off cuff here. I got USC, I believe, coming out of that top left region. I have Michigan out of the bottom left. Top right, I believe I have Baylor, and then I have Oklahoma State, if that makes sense. Maybe that doesn't even make sense.
No, that's spot on, actually.
Is that right?
It's pretty good.
That's me going off of memory, but that feels right. Something about that felt right. I don't know why.
It sounded right when you said it. It sounded right. I actually agree with some of your picks. I think you have to go with Gonzaga. I think they're the best team in the country, along with Baylor.
I think Gonzaga is the best team in the country. Second best team in the country. I think Michigan's best team in the country. I think Gonzaga is really, really good. I think that the fact that they just don't play in a lot of close games hurts them. And every year I feel like, this Gonzaga team is the best Gonzaga team they've had yet. And this one, that you could probably make a case that it actually is. With that being said, I still think that you have to play in close games. You have to play in games where shots aren't falling and you still find a way to win. And they've done that, granted, to their credit, all year. I don't see them running the table. Personally, I'm a fan of Mark Few. I'm a fan of a lot of their players. I think they have really good players, but I'm not seeing it this year.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I think they get to the Final Four. I don't think they win a national championship. I'm going Gonzaga, Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma State. So I'm a little bit of a Big 12 homer, but that's my Final Four, and I think Baylor wins it all. I think they're the best team in the country.
I'm okay with that. I also wanted to take a second and kind of tease that we have a Top Shot giveaway in the works.
Whoa.
Which I think has a chance to be pretty exciting stuff. Obviously, Top Shot is seemingly taking the world, not just the basketball community, the world, by storm. And we have some exciting things on the horizon, and that we're going to be able to give away some moments to some listeners, some viewers, and some subscribers. So stay tuned for that. We're really excited about that, and we're just going to continue to keep you guys updated on what we got coming your way.
Yeah, there were 2 pack drops yesterday that I tried to get in on, and both times I was behind about 100,000 people in line. So I know firsthand how difficult it can be to get your hands on some of these things. So yeah, very excited that we can potentially give you guys, the listeners, access to some stuff. Like Duncan said, still in the works.
Well, Dave, it's not all that difficult actually. All you have to do is just tune into the long shot. And and you get some top shot moments potentially coming your way.
How about that? A little added incentive. Hey, before we get to our segments, I also wanted to quickly just give you some love, give you your flowers while we're here. I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago, and you deflected, but it is now official. Team USA has announced their pool of finalists for the upcoming Olympics, the Summer Olympics. 57 guys in the NBA who are part of that final pool, of which Duncan Robinson is a part of.
Yeah, it's pretty humbling. Truthfully, at this point, I don't really know what it means fully. It means I'm just kind of a part of this player pool, obviously a training camp, and of course from there it's just going to continue to get cut down more and more. But even to just get to this stage is pretty crazy, just considering the prestigious honor that it is to be included at all in USA basketball. The one potential downside that I really look at when I think about this is that if by some crazy circumstance I do end up in the Olympics, I would likely be missing your wedding this summer.
That is true, but it would be an honor, let me tell you, for you to not be there because you're in the Olympics. I think that would be better than you standing by my side.
I think that this also provides us an opportunity to bring some clarity. Davis is engaged to be married to the love of his life. He was supposed to be married August of 2020. Obviously, COVID had other plans. It's now been pushed to August of 2021. I have the distinct honor of being in the wedding, which I'm incredibly excited about and look forward to. So, I kind of view it as a win-win. If I'm not involved in the Olympics, guess what? I get to be by one of my best friend's side as he's walking down the aisle. And if I do get involved in the Olympics, then I get to represent my country at the highest stage.
One seems like a little bit more of a win than the other.
Honestly, they're right there. They're neck and neck. They really are. I mean that truthfully.
Well, I appreciate that. No, look, again, for you to not be there because you're in the Olympics would be a true honor. So, I almost hope that it happens. I can find a fill-in.
I mean, that is borderline disrespectful just to fill in. I don't think I'm just somebody that, if it's not there that you can just fill in. But regardless, we can push forward. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's get to the Reddit question of the week. Actually, this week I want to do something a little bit different because we did our mailbag last week. We've got a whole slew of great questions that we didn't get a chance to get to. So instead of going into Reddit posts to find a Reddit question of the week, I'm just dipping back into the mailbag. And so this question comes from Will Moxon on Twitter, actually. And he asks you, Dunk, who is the hardest for you to guard and who is the hardest to guard you?
It's a quality question that I get quite a bit. I would say in terms of hardest to guard, I think James Harden has to be up there for a variety of reasons. One, just because how he plays, you might see him take 10, 12, 15, maybe even dribbles on a given possession. So if he has a matchup that he likes, which is, most matchups are favorable for him given how, offensively gifted he is, he's going to draw you out and take his time and really keep you on that island. So I would say James Harden is up there. And then obviously just the firepower right now around him is that it's not like you can really load up to the ball because then you're taking bodies off of, Kyrie or Durant. So I would probably say he is up there for sure. His combination of skill, strength, he's incredibly strong. I don't think a lot of people realize that. But in terms of, hardest person that I've had guard me, that's an interesting one. I guess this is a little bit of an opportunity to give some love to a former teammate of mine. Derek Jones actually would do a really good job of guarding me in practice. I would never admit it. So Derek, I'm now finally giving you some recognition and the credit that you deserve. But DJ is unique in that he is incredibly long. He's 6'7". He has a crazy wingspan. He's ridiculously athletic, as everyone sees, but he can move. He has like the dexterity to navigate screens and get to contests. Whereas if you're smaller, it's harder because for you to guard me just because it's harder for you to get to a contest, whereas DJ has the athleticism and the length to really bother shot attempts.
Is there also an angle of him knowing the play calls?
For sure. I mean, especially in practice, it's like, yeah. I mean, we'll see. We haven't played them yet this year. That'll be interesting. I don't even know if he'll actually guard me. Very good chance that he ends up matching up with Jimmy or something like that.
After hearing this, they might put him on you.
Yeah, maybe. But there's a good chance he'll probably end up guarding Jimmy or something like that. But yeah, in practice, obviously, it's a huge advantage when we make a play call and you know exactly what's coming.
All right, what about easiest guy that guards you?
We're gonna stay away from that. Probably Mo Wagner.
Good. There we go. See, we're trying to be the number one podcast in America. Let's talk some shit.
Some combination of Mo Wagner, DJ Wilson, Karis LeVert, Tim Hardaway. Just all those guys.
Yeah.
All those Michigan
cones,
guys. They
just all cones,
and they know that. Just kidding, kind of. We got our long shot feature. This is a special one, just because it's March. We're staying in the theme of college basketball. Jason Preston, if you haven't heard his story, he has a special one. He was raised by a single mother in Orlando, the great state of Florida. His mother actually passed of lung cancer, tragically, when Jason was just 15 years old. And as a result, his aunt, who was living in Jamaica, had to come and be his legal guardian. Once again, living in Orlando, Jason was a 6-foot, 140-pound senior in high school and was averaging just 2 points a game. And it was after this season, his senior season, that he had an opportunity to play in an AAU event. He was already enrolled to go to UCF as just a regular student. Didn't, of course, probably had the basketball dream, but didn't really have any real opportunities to really pursue it. But that summer, after playing in the AAU event, he had the opportunity to play in a prep school, do a 5th year of high school. And this is where everything started to change. Went to play at the prep school, bounced around from the first team to the 4th team and everywhere in between, and just started really to develop as a prospect. And from there, he earns a scholarship to play at Ohio University. And he's been killing pretty much ever since. He's had an incredible year. He's really Ohio's always had a solid program, but he's put them on the map, and that now they're in the NCAA tournament. And now he's 6'4", 190 pounds. He's averaging 16, 8, and 7, which is kind of a fill the stat sheet type of a guard. And he's starting to get on some NBA radar, starting to build some traction with NBA teams. So pretty incredible story. Just hearing him speak and listening to some of his interviews and just hearing his perspective, I think is something that a lot of people can tap value into for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, after his senior year of high school, he's enrolled to go to UCF just as a student. Yeah. Figured basketball was done, and then got asked to play that summer, and it turned into all this. And you're, like you said, on some NBA radars now. With March Madness starting this weekend, they're a 13 seed, I think, Ohio. Mm-hmm. But they took Illinois down to the wire earlier this year. Yeah. They could make a run, and he's a big reason why.
I also I forgot a part of his story where he actually posted a highlight tape of himself on his Twitter.
Yeah, that's right.
Which ultimately ended up building the traction of getting the offers and starting to get some notoriety. So believe in yourself, people,
Love it.
People aren't just gonna come around calling all the time. You gotta promote yourself, recruit yourself a little bit, and thankfully he did, and obviously he's been a huge difference maker for them this year, and I hope they can make a run. I'm certainly rooting for him.
I love it. I think in his spirit, we're gonna create let's try to do a podcast highlight tape. We'll see if it can go viral on Twitter and get us to the league.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, well, that's pretty much it for the front of show. We got a great conversation with Tyler, which I think you guys would really enjoy.
If you had to describe it in one word.
Ooh, I got moxie. Nice little SAT vocab word for the kids at home there. But yeah, Tyler certainly plays with a lot of moxie, has a lot of moxie. The conversation had some moxie to it. I think you guys will enjoy it.
It's spot on, but it sounds like you kind of just wanted to flex your vocabulary there.
A little bit of both. All right, well, here's Tyler. Appreciate you guys tuning in.